Friday morning, can't control it. Fired up and counting every minute. Hands are shaking, eyes are burning. The time has come, yeah, this is not a warning. The week was just so long, we had to let it go. Our problems disappeared, we're not tied up anymore. The weekend is here. Sunday calls, we are sick and tired of it. Up and down, can you feel it? Up and down.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Johansson show. I am finally joined by Harley Rage. Harley, thank you for coming on.
Hey, thanks, man. No worries. It's fun. It's gonna be fun. Looking forward to being on, actually. So yeah.
Definitely, like everybody that I've spoken to regarding Scandinavian, and it's kind of grown into covering the whole of Nordic wrestling. Everybody sings your praises, whether it's talent saying they've worked with you and you're great, or if it's fans saying you need to get this person on and like tell his story. So I'd be really interested in like learning more and talking about like your career. And perfect day for it. Obviously, Newcastle won.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I'm
When
a
you
big,
said
big Newcastle fan, actually. So.
when you said either doing it before or after the Newcastle game, I was like, well, I can't do it before because I'm staying up for WrestleMania. I'd be shocked. I went, but if I do it afterwards, Newcastle haven't been in the best form, so he may not be in a good mood. So thankfully, Newcastle got the win.
Yeah.
How did you become a Newcastle fan?
When I was about 10 years old, my family, we went to like on a trip through Scotland, and back then there used to be a boat between Gothenburg and Newcastle. So we went that way home, and that was the same summer that Alan Shearer joined.
Yeah.
So that was like the talk of the town and everything. And I've watched football obviously, but not that much. And then after that, it stuck with me, I guess. So yes, I've been through all the ups and downs the last 20-something years, 25 years.
100%. And like, it's not really, I don't even know what's happening because you had Rafa Benitez, he goes, and there was talks of a big takeover where you're going to be one of the richest clubs in the world. That didn't materialise, and then you just ended up with, well, my team's Hull City. So you've got our old manager, Steve Bruce. And it's not really going to plan.
No, and it's, well, you get used to it because it's been that way since 96. We almost made it, with being beaten out in the last few rounds of the Premier League. But that's been the case pretty much from there. I think one of the highs after that was pretty much like we came fifth. And that was about 13 years ago, and I was looking back to it and it's going like, oh, that's not too long ago, and it's like, fuck me, it's like
the Bobby Robson era, that was a great time, and then it just went down and down and down and down.
Yeah.
But do you follow anybody in Sweden?
My local team is Landskrona Boys, so it's where I grew up. So I follow them. They won. They had their the first round was yesterday, actually. Swedish football. We don't. Our season is so strange. Because we have the winter is pretty rough. So we play over the summer instead of the other way around. Yeah,
I manage a lot. I play Football Manager religiously, and a lot of the time I'm managing in Sweden. Obviously, last name Johansson. My dad's side is the Swedish and Danish on my dad's side. So I've always looked into Sweden national team, and I always remember. I think it was like the 2002 World Cup, and I could get away with it because Lundberg had his mohawk, but so did David Beckham. And it would be like one day I'll just spray it red for England. The next day I'll do yellow or blue. It was. So I managed quite a lot there, and it's always a nightmare when I trying to sign people, and because of the different windows and stuff like that. But I really enjoy it. I think one of my next tasks is to start in like the amateur leagues of Sweden, like download one of the packs and try and go up the divisions, because not much else to do during a pandemic apart from play football manager.
That's it. That's the thing. And I've I just moved towns like a few months ago, so I've been doing a lot of renovating. Bought a new house, so I've been doing that for these past few months. So that's been my days busy with that.
When was the last time you was wrestling?
I wrestled like early autumn. So I think September or something like that, and then they hit us with a pretty harsh. It's not a full lockdown in Sweden. I guess people know that, but you're just allowed 8 people in a group, really. So, and with all the all the talk of it, it's if someone puts on a show and there's a big crowd show up, it's bad PR. So we just try to play everything down. So we did a show for 50 people, because that was the limit at the time. That was the last time I wrestled. So it's a bummer, because it affects you more than you think. Some days and some weekends you just miss it, and it's almost like some days you go around punching stuff like in the air, because there's some energy there that wants to get out, but it just doesn't get out. So
I'm just picturing you walking down the street and people looking at you because you start punching, and then before you know it, you just flat back.
That part is not the thing I miss the most, though. but it's no. So. No, definitely some days, and like everyone asks about it, because I moved back to where I used to live. So there's a lot of people I haven't met in a few years up here, and they ask me about what about the wrestling? You still do the wrestling stuff, and it's like, well, obviously I don't now, but so it gets brought up, and then it gets you a few days, So
I can imagine. Who was it that you was doing the show for?
And that was in Malmo, so it was for Swedish Wrestling Syd, SWS. So we put on some small shows in the warehouse where we used to train. So.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
What was it like wrestling again after having that such a long break, like you mentioned? Backflips aren't your favourite part, but when you start wrestling after taking so long off, obviously your body heals up, but it kind of gets used to not taking these bumps anymore. How did you find it?
A lot of them, like the mechanics was all right, like the moving around stuff felt natural enough. Obviously there's a little bit of ring rust, but it felt all right. And then I think the hardest part was actually like not putting, because I had a match with one of our rookies. So the hard part was like putting his stuff in with my stuff, so getting creative about that without letting, doing stuff that was too difficult for him to do or for him to remember. So I think that was the most difficult part, I think, putting everything back together, because you haven't done it in a long time. Like if you do shows every other weekend and like in every day, you just put stuff together and you say, I'll use this from that match and you'll use that, and and then we'll mix this up and then we'll see what happens when we do this. So when you haven't done it for like a match for a long time, it's that becomes more difficult, I think.
I can imagine it'd have been different if you got back in the ring with somebody you faced and team with for years in Steinbolt, but to get a rookie that's just trying to find his way, obviously he doesn't have the experience of putting things together or leading matches. I can imagine that was. Had you worked with him before, or was that the first time?
I've trained him, so I've been in the ring with him, but that was his first time doing his gimmick, and his thing. So, so I knew it was gonna be fine, with all the stuff. But still, finding out like, can you do this? Well, like if you want to do this, you want to do that. And he wasn't sure what he wanted to do either. So, I don't like he, I know he had a match with another guy, and they talked about a lot of stuff beforehand, and they sat down, you know. And I don't like doing that because you lose a lot of the magic, you know. And sometimes if you plan too much and too far ahead, you get so stuck in your ways, you know, like, we have to put this in there.
Yeah.
In reality, you really don't have to put that in there if it doesn't fit, you know.
Yeah.
So.
I agree. Like, get that start, get the middle base, and then get that ending, and then just try and pad it out, because you see it again, and it's like, it's not a bad thing, especially with the younger guys, where it is that learning process, but a lot of the time you can see the cogs turning in their head. Exactly. And then one, they forget to enjoy it, but two, like, their emotions can go because they're just so concentrating on doing the next move and the next move and the next move, they forget about everything around them.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the most important parts about wrestling, that people sometimes forget, and I've been that way as well. You know, like when you start out, you think so much about yourself, what you said, what you're doing in the ring, and you know, and to be fair, that's not the most important thing about wrestling. The most important thing about the wrestling is the people watching you.
Yeah,
those are the ones you have to do the match for. If you do it just for yourself, I think that's a dangerous path to walk. You know, obviously you're supposed to have fun yourself in the ring, and you know it has to be fun for you. But you have to be able to have a good match that the crowd enjoys, and that the crowd can understand. That, because that's the way it is in Sweden. We don't have the history and the tradition of wrestling as a lot of countries, especially like the UK and the US. So we're basically still. I thought about it a while. It's like next year, I think it's the 20th anniversary of a wrestling promotion in Sweden. Wow. Yeah, GBG Wrestling was the first promotion that started up in 2002, I think. So next year will be 20 years with wrestling live in Sweden, you know, and so we're still cultivating the fans. They're getting used to what wrestling is about, and you know, and there's like, I'd say if 1/3 of the audience in Malmö, at least, every time there's 1/3 of the audience is pretty new to wrestling, and a lot of people, you know, just say like, I've never been to wrestling. I just saw the poster and I thought I had to go because it seems so weird, you know, and that's pretty much, you know. And I don't, you'll obviously find that in the UK as well, but there's much more, you know, people following it.
Yeah.
You know,
it must be it must be a good feeling for yourselves, because again, it is still so raw in Sweden, across Scandinavia. And the fact you are getting people going in and it looks a bit weird, let's go check it out and enjoy it and come back.
Yeah.
It must be good because, again, you're being able to create new fans and retain those fans, but also not every fan in the crowd's a smart fan.
No, so, exactly. And that's really nice, because you can, like, you can steal stuff to a higher degree without people, you know, being smart about it. Yeah. And everyone borrows from everyone anyways, you know. So, but you don't get the comments about it afterwards. So that's always nice. Yeah, but yeah, and it's about. I think it's a lot about making people used to some level of consistency as well, because obviously we don't want to put matches on that doesn't hold a high standard. Yeah. So we want to put a high standard of matches on, and without killing ourselves, because if we do something one show and then one, you know, people will expect more all the time, and that is also like a problem. Like if you do too much of the hardcore stuff and, you know, too much of the swerve of the, you know, like, oh, he has the bag, he has the money in the bank briefcase, and now he cashes it in. Who could expect this? If you do that like all the time, it just takes away the it doesn't, because everyone knows it's predetermined, but they don't know how. So if everyone just sits and waits for, they're going to bring in the chairs now, you know, and then it gets harder for us, like with what should we do next time to swerve people? What should we do next time to step up the violence? You know, so if you do that all the time, it's so hard for you. And I think we found a pretty good balance of it in Sweden actually at the moment. So and in Scandinavia in general.
Yeah, I think you see it a lot on the independents, where especially some of the younger lads, where with social media, you've got GIFs and you've got short videos that you can post, and everyone's like, oh wow, and then all of a sudden somebody that may have had only like 3 or 4 matches but has done this crazy sport is an internet darling and stuff like that. But then it's, what are you going to do next? I saw a video in America where somebody jumped off a balcony in a shopping mall and scaled all the fans below, landed in the ring. I'm like, one, like, it's a show in a shopping mall.
Yeah.
Like, I'd understand if it's like a big TV company and you're doing a big, massive spot, but was the risk really worth the reward?
Exactly.
And I don't think it was. And what can you do once you've done that? Like, go 1 floor up and jump off a second floor? Like,
no, so it's a balance of things like that. And and I think since, like I said, like a lot of the fans in Sweden are the ones coming into the shows. A lot of people don't follow us regularly online and things like that, which also makes it more important to stand out when you're there. Instead of doing cool things when you do, like, that you can put up on your show reel, because obviously that's important too, but not as important as getting the people that pays to come to the show to make them mark out, because that's the main point. Like, getting people in the front seat for the first time going like, what, I didn't really expect this is too much. Like, and people, like, I love the way when you do the things when someone falls out of the ring or things like that, and you actually end up in someone's lap, because it's like, because when someone ends up in your lap, it's like this movie that I was watching actually came out from the screen. So people, you always get that reaction, even with the guys that's been there in the front seat for a long time. They always react to it, because it's so easy. It's tangible. You can touch the guy coming there, you know. So I like that. You don't have to do any big stuff. Someone falls out of the ring. It's super easy, but you can touch it's like I don't want to compare myself to Arnold Schwarzenegger, but it's like if I watch Terminator and Arnold Schwarzenegger falls out of the screen and I can touch him, it's like, whoa, shit. And that's pretty much the idea. So
100%. Who was it that you started breaking through with when you first started wrestling then?
So I was living here in Halmstad, where I live again. So and I knew of wrestling in Sweden, but I didn't know too much about it. So I looked it up on the internet, and I realized, Gothenburg and Malmo, that's the places where they are, and it's the equal distance from Halmstad to both places. And so I thought, I'll check it out, and so I put it on the back burner, and then I saw a magazine where they had an article about the wrestling in Malmo. So I picked that up and I read it, and I read about the people, and then I just decided, like, I'll have to, like, email them and have a look at, can I do something? I'll have to try it out, because I've always wondered, like, what it's like. I always had, like, this little feeling of, like, I could probably be pretty good at this. But I think everyone is thinking that before they find out. And then, so I got in touch with them, and then they're like, we'll let you know when we have a tryout. And then a few months later, actually, they emailed me back and said, like, come down this time, blah blah blah. And so I drove down, and it was the guy who trained me first was his name is Killer Carlson, or he used to be. Don Attala is his name now. So he was the guy who trained me from the start. and gave me my first break. He used to do wrestling in Gothenburg as well, and then he moved down to Malmo. So and then like brought that scene with him. And he also have like his first character was a mime. So it was Le Mime. That was his. So he did like pantomime stuff, and then the invisible door thing and things like that. And people, he'd open the door and people would fall out of the ring when they did the running the ropes, stuff like that. And the other guy, like his other character, Killer Carlson, was like Black Trunks brawler. So it was totally different. The both. So that was the guy who really got me started in this, actually. So yeah.
How did you find like starting out on the shows and stuff like that, and being in front of live paying audiences?
It's gonna sound a bit not that humble, but I was just finding my feet pretty quickly. Yeah. And I think a lot of people that was there can attest to that, because I think a lot of people that was doing wrestling in Sweden could see that pretty early. Like, oh well, this guy knows, at least he pretends to know, so obviously you were nervous, a lot of nervous feelings in the start, but still. That makes you a bit, get into the gears as well.
Yeah.
So actually, like to give an example, I know my first singles match I ever had at a show in Malmo was against a guy called Guldkalven. He used to be in a tag team called Doppelgangster. Him and his twin.
Okay.
Yeah. And they're both still great friends of mine, and they helped me train and stuff as well in the start. So the evil twin then, because they split, and one twin was evil and the other one was good. So that's always the hands out. But the evil twin and I had a match, and at the end of the match, another heel was supposed to come out to distract me. But he missed his cue somehow. And this was, as I said, my first match as a...
Was that the Big Machine?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because I saw that you had a tag match shortly after.
Yeah. So the Big Machine was supposed to come out and stop me, and then Guldkalven was supposed to hit his finisher, and then that was it. But he didn't show up, so the other guy, Guldkalven, who's been doing it for a few years, and I was like green as grass. He was like asking, "What we do now? What we do now?" So I was like, "Well, give me a jawbreaker, and then give me a drop kick from the top, and that's enough, to keep me down." And he's like, "Oh, okay, sure." So I think I was finding my feet pretty quickly, and he actually used that as his finisher after that. He was like, yeah, I'll use that from now, sure. Drop kick from the top, that's great.
Like, for you to be in that position on your first singles match as well, surely that is daunting, because you see it a lot of time when things don't go to plan, people can freeze in the ring.
Yeah.
And it's good to see that even in the early days that wasn't happening.
Yeah, and I'll say I was probably lucky, because like, hadn't he asked me what to do and just tried to get me to do something, that would probably just fall into absolute pieces. But this time it just worked out. So and then I had my second match was that tag match, as you mentioned, and what happened there was we did dive the good twin did dive out of the ring, and Big Machine actually tweaked his knee, so both his cruciate ligaments went. Oh. Yeah. So my two first matches that I ever did was first him missing his cue, and the other one was he can't finish the match because he was his knee was fucked. So yeah.
Oh, nightmare. Yeah. Fair play to you. Was it shortly after you'd faced Steinbolt for the first time then?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, because I used to be a face back then, and he was a heel. So yeah, that would probably be somewhere in about, like, I was probably 4 or 5 months in doing shows, I guess, something like that. Yeah.
What impact do you think he's had on your career? Because again, you've wrestled each other all across Sweden in various different promotions, but you've also been teaming together in Sweden and in Bodyslam. What impact do you think he's had on your career as a whole?
His impact's been absolutely massive. Definitely, he's like a great friend of mine. We're friends outside of wrestling as well. Yeah. He's opened up so many doors for me. So yeah, he's been huge influence for me personally, but also on Swedish wrestling, definitely, because he's been grinding at it for so long, and he's really good with the whole character stuff. That's obviously he's good in the ring as well.
Yeah.
But he didn't used to be that way. He can attest to that as well. But his ability to convey emotions and be a character is really good, and also not just stay in that character all the time, but evolve and help. He's helped so many people in Sweden get their character on track and evolve. Like El Vecino, that's pretty much him. Like, oh, we'll try this out, and I can see something in this guy because he's out of the normal mold of the wrestler, things like that. I used to do like in the start, I used to do more like a strong man thingy with the Andre the Giant singlet, and he's like, well, you're in the armed forces, you should use that, you should do something with that instead of, and I think from there I've been more comfortable myself with doing the wrestling, because I can use that because it's more natural to me. So yeah, I can't emphasize enough how important Steinbolt's been for me, and he's taught me a lot about wrestling, definitely, and helped me a lot in my career as well.
Amazing. When was the decision for you to start teaming together?
We were talking about it pretty early, but the opportunity never were there in Sweden, because when I was a face, he was a heel, and when he was a heel, he we just went past each other all the time, and then since we weren't that many people doing wrestling, we couldn't stick two guys together that were because we were often, me and him are in like the main event type.
There's a reason you called Sweden's Elite.
Yeah. Real, but it's like when you go watch wrestling, you want to watch a solid match, big guys. That's a lot of people want to see that. So if you go in there and we're both on the same match, it's going to be a bit hard. So we didn't get that opportunity, and then we managed to get that opportunity down with Bodyslam. And then we just kept grinding on that, and has been doing that for a few other promotions as well, and hopefully we'll get there in Sweden as well. But it's some ways away, I think. And then we did it for All Star in the UK.
Amazing.
Yeah, and it was I loved it. We had 3 great weeks, and we basically 5 days a week wrestling James Mason and Dean Allmark, which was absolutely fantastic. It was so a combination of being so easy and so challenging as well at the same time, because you have to step up your game. Yeah, exactly. And it's not like you're sitting around asking James or Dean all that stuff all the time, but you watch them, you watch what they do, you're in the ring with them, you get that feeling of the tempo and the and the the basic, this is what you need for now, this is what the crowd is doing now, then we need this. When you do it for, like I said, 5 days a week, the 3 weeks, you get that feeling of like, oh, okay, so I'm into this now. I'm into the groove. I get it. You just learn so much, and so that was a great few weeks, definitely.
I'm glad you've been able to experience All Star. Like, it makes me laugh because I had this joke with Dean before I actually got Dean on the show. I was just saying, like, nearly every interview I do without fail, Dean Allmark gets mentioned. I was interviewing somebody from Australia and he was saying, oh yeah, I watched some British stuff I watched with Dean, or it'll be people saying they've come to the UK for a week to train and they've trained with Dean, and everybody just sings Dean's praises. So for like the Nordic wrestling listeners who may not know, like Dean Allmark, James Mason are two of the absolute very best.
Yeah, definitely some of the best to lace up a pair of boots at this point, definitely. James Mason has been doing this for so long, and so many consistent matches all of the time. And I'll say, like, because I went out of my way to watch some of the other matches when we did the All-Stars and running some of the matches, or some of the days they didn't put us teams against each other. So they put us against another team, and then they put Mason and Allmark against each other. And the first day they did that, I was like, I'm going to go out of my way to watch this one. And I was amazed at because it was so smooth, and obviously they didn't talk about it beforehand because they didn't need to. They didn't do it after, like, I guess 200 times, I guess.
Even more. It's probably in the thousands more.
But it was absolutely fantastic, and they Mason did this thing where he goes up the top turnbuckle and he misses it, and someone, oh fuck, he botched, and then I just realized, no, he didn't. He absolutely did that on purpose, and which was absolutely beautiful. He missed the top turnbuckle so Dino could get in there with high insecurity to the top. It's just like, Jesus Christ, they're so good. They can fool anyone. It's just it's brilliant.
When was it used with All Star?
It was so it's 2018. So that was it, and I was supposed to go last year for like, I was supposed to get in touch with Brian Dixon again, and then all this shit happened. So
yeah, definitely. No, hopefully, like, if you could get to do like one of the summer runs amazing from everybody that I speak to it, because again, for those listening that aren't aware of All Star, they're probably the biggest touring company in the world apart from WWE. You can work just 1 week on the camps, and sometimes you're doing like 2 shows. And how did you find the grind? Because I know a lot of people enjoy it and embrace it, but there's been people where they might slay All Star because they can't, because again, you're in a van or a car all cramped together. You get out, you put up the ring, wrestle, take the ring down, go to another venue, put the ring up, wrestle, and it is a grind.
It definitely is, but I don't mind. Really, especially like you said, you get crapped up in a van. Well, but you still have a good laugh about it, and it's fun. Tony Spitty, he was a great guy. He took care of me. Awesome. I love him. He was great. So, and he was doing the driving. How it's like, how can you not enjoy it when you sit around and you chat about stuff, and you listen to listen to music. We have one of the weekends we have Frankie Sloan with us as well, which is also just a riot. He's an absolute just a legend as well. So it's, no, I don't mind, and it's like, as I said, I'm back working in the armed forces now, and so I'm used to doing
the grind.
work. I'm used to the grafting, and and I've been driving my wife insane, with the renovating stuff, because as long as I've got something to do, I'll just keep on going. And she's like, "Well, it's almost 9:00. We should probably eat." And it's like, "Oh, really? Well, yeah, I could just do this and this and this, because I'm already, up there doing it." So, but yeah, so the grafting, really no problem for me. It was fine, and there was always someone there telling us what to do. It's not like you feel unsafe because you don't know what to do with all the stuff carrying around. So no, it was great, and there's always someone complaining about it, and we had one guy there, and I don't want to mention any names or point anyone out. He wasn't carrying his load, but he got to know that as well.
Yeah,
because we're 6 guys in a van riding along, and then just chucking the ring up, and then one of the guys is standing in the corner. That doesn't fly when you do that week in, week out, day in, day out. No, so.
Nah, I can imagine. Was there anybody else that you was working with that stood out and you felt like you learned from?
That I learned, well, as I said, Dino and Spitty and James Mason, definitely. I have to say as well, like, we had Sam Elias with us as well, which was a lot of fun, and he's like, people can say what they want about him, but he's a great guy. He can, I think he speaks out sometimes to get a reaction, which doesn't work for his favor all the time. But he's deep down, he's a good guy, and he's a great wrestling guy. He has a mind for it. So I think I learned a lot from him as well. It's like, obviously, being immersed in the whole thing, being in that bubble of wrestling all the time, and as I said, we had like one weekend we had Frankie with us, which is like, I didn't, like I said, didn't sit down and pick his brain like that, but we stuff came up when we drove around, so you get some stuff in there, and you have a pint, stuff like that. It's just so. But mainly I'd say Spitty, Dino, and James Mason, definitely 3 very good mentors in that way.
It truly is like the closest you can get to being a full-time, like to be a professional wrestler than being signed, and it's hopefully, like, once the pandemic's eased up, you can come over here again and do one of the tours. But it's interesting with the Swedish scene, with yourself and Steinbolt not really teaming, because I noticed, obviously, Norwegian Wrestling Federation, you've held the tag titles there. Bodyslam, you've held the tag titles. But am I right in thinking you've never held tag titles actually in Sweden?
No, that's true, because as I said, we haven't gotten around to teaming, because we've always been doing like a feud with someone else, or doing like a main event stuff with something else, or actually we've been doing like main event stuff with against each other as well. So we haven't put ourselves in the tag title picture. I tagged with another guy, Cliff Pettersson. And we had the tag titles a little while as well, which was a lot of fun. That was different dynamic. Cliff is a hilarious guy, and he's really big into like old Memphis wrestling stuff. Which is a lot of fun. Just chatting about that, and then, let's try to work something in here. It's like, well, but it's a lot of fun, and so that was a good, fun experience as well. I think it like with most people you work with, like when you work with someone who has a very different style, you challenge yourself to figure out, because you basically have your like top 5 hits, like this is what I want to, like, if I want to get five movies in, this is it. Which makes a lot of sense, to have something like that, and then you can have different ways to work into it. So if you have that, and you work with someone that you like, I can't use this on this guy, or and vice versa as well.
Yeah.
It makes you think about different ways and different things I can do to make myself stand out, and still not compromise the character. So
well, whilst we're on about like with the tag teaming and stuff like that, yourself and Steinbolt in Bodyslam, what's your thoughts on Bodyslam? Like, what are your favourite memories across there? Because I think they've done some fantastic stuff in terms of how they market themselves and how they get themselves out there, the production.
Yeah, definitely. The production value is amazing, and they put a lot of effort and pride into it, and hats off to them. Really, it's super. Well, yeah, I've had a lot of fun memories in Bodyslam. I think I had tag team wise. I think winning one of the things is winning the titles in Copenhagen was really fun because the noise was really ear deafening being there live. They really didn't like that. And also, obviously, losing the titles there was a lot of fun. Because in the same way, it wasn't, it was the same way, but the other way around, with noise and stuff. So, yeah, that I think those two stand out. I think tag team wise, definitely. And I think we had a pretty good match in Old Boy as well with them, with Tank.
Yeah.
And Finn. That was it was Tank and drop the name. Matt.
Matthew Bennett, is it?
Yeah, exactly. That's him. So that was a lot of fun as well.
Yeah.
We had a tag team match that was like haphazardly put together also in that venue, which was the absolute shit. Which also stands out. But I know they edited some stuff out. In hindsight, is pretty good, I think. But that was it was like we were supposed to face one team, and the flight was delayed, or actually I think it was canceled, and so they had to put that to scrap, and then they had to put someone else in.
Yeah.
And that guy also fell out on some way, like he was injured or something. And then it just we'll put this other guy, a Swedish guy in there, Danny Sharp, and we'll put an absolute rookie in there. So they haven't wrestled before.
Yeah.
And the rookie obviously haven't really wrestled as well. So that just no chemistry really, and a lot of things didn't come out very well. So we just but in hindsight, it was fun, It wasn't very fun at the time, but
imagine. But no, Bodyslam truly has been like one of your homes away from home, I guess. Really. In wrestling, like from being on show 1 and show 2, obviously teaming with Chris Ridgway for show 2, was it?
Yeah.
How was that?
We had Riddy was. I watched a little bit of his match, when he was on Bodyslam. He was on the first Bodyslam show, I think, if I remember correctly. And just wow, this guy is pretty good, So we kept in touch, and then the opportunity came about. Like I mentioned before the show, before we started recording, I used to do the bookings in Malmo as well. So. We got him to Malmo as well, and he's I think he's a great talent. He has a natural charisma about him.
Yeah.
He is very solid technical wise. So he's a good guy. I haven't spoken to him in a while. So if you're listening, Chris, hope you're doing good. He's doing good wrestling wise, I think.
Yeah, it's been doing a lot with progress since they're doing their
and
shows.
he's been to Japan
Yeah.
a little while. I think Japan fits in well. Yeah. So yeah, he's a good dude, definitely. And then
sorry.
No, I just realized, like, when you said like standout matches in Bodyslam, for me personally, I did a match with Chuck Cyrus.
Yeah.
And it was a good match, but it stands out a bit extra for me as well because I had this rash on in my side, and it wouldn't go off, and also on my arm. So I had this. So I taped myself up, and I had a tank top underneath the singlet, to cover it up, and then it wouldn't go away for a few days. So when I came home from doing that weekend of wrestling in Denmark, I think I did 3 shows or 2 shows that weekend. I came home and I went into the doctor's, and he was like, yeah, that's Beltus. It's called Hell's Fire. It's I'll drop the name in English now, but it's when you're small, you get the pox. Oh,
shingles.
Shingles, yeah. So I had the shingles for that match.
Wow.
Without even realizing it, and I was like, well, I'll just put this lotion on, and that'll be fine, But obviously not. And people were like, when they found out it was the shingles, they were like, "You wrestled with the shingles?" Like, and it's like, well, yeah, it wasn't that bad, I didn't have a fever. And he was like, "Oh well, you probably shouldn't have done that." I was like, "Nah, I probably shouldn't, but it's too late now."
Is there anybody you wanting to work with once restrictions have gone back to normal and you can fly back over to Denmark?
Oh, that's a tough question. I'm open to working with pretty much anyone, really. And it's like, I don't think I've worked with Emeritus.
Yeah.
No, actually I haven't. Just when he did his old gimmick way back, which I won't mention because I don't think you like that. But so that's one guy I'd like to work with. Just out of not being able to do that, and he's a great guy as well. I think. Maybe speaking out of like my without me knowing, but I think he's a bit underrated in the Scandinavian scene, because I don't think people tend to realize how technically sound he is, really. So yeah, that's definitely a name I'd like to work with. That's in the local area. And then well, bring on anyone, I guess. Anyone, like with seniority, I like to work with anyone who's been in the game for a long time. It's good fun, and it's we had Pascal Spalter from Germany in Sweden a few times. I didn't work him myself, so that would be a lot of fun as well. He's a good guy as well.
Well, going back to the all-star stuff, you mentioned you worked Dean Allmark, you worked James Mason, 2 of the best, but somebody that goes hand in hand with that, Doug Williams, who you faced in Germany.
Yeah.
What was that experience like?
I was really, really nervous because I liked. I think Doug is great, and I've watched his matches way back, and so that was really nervous for me, and I didn't like when the promoter booked me for the show, the first one. I didn't realize I was going to do that with Doug, so I was like, oh shit, and you want to step your game up and still don't want to overdo stuff as well. So it's a balance of that. I think the first match we had was solid. You know, it was a good match, and I really enjoyed doing it. It was a learning experience as well. Not like the same thing, like didn't go around picking his brain, but you know, hearing him reason about like we should do this, we could do that. Like I'd rather not take that the choke slam. We want to do something else, you know, and things like that. Which also that was a starting point for me, like realizing I could do without the choke slam. Like I could switch the finisher up with no hesitation really. So I'm not using that much anymore.
What have you changed for it?
Yeah, so I'm doing the power slam, like the running power slam, and a lot of times if I get the opportunity to do it, I do it like an Oklahoma Stampede. So I'll run him into the turnbuckle and then do and I enjoy that. I think it's a bigger move, definitely.
Yeah.
If you just get the guy up there, it's no problem, and it looks great. The running power slam is a nice looking move, definitely.
Yeah.
And it's like with Doug, it's a better bump to take all day, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. When you wrestle as much as he has, obviously he needs to try and protect what sort of bumps.
Yeah, and he doesn't know me, you know, like he doesn't know if I can, you know, do it as good as he wants me to do it, you know, and things like that. So I definitely know like nothing like that with anyone. If there's a bump you don't want to take, you don't take it. It's your body, you know. So
I think that goes for everybody as well. Like even some of the younger guys, like if you don't feel comfortable, say that, because I know some people can take liberties, especially with the younger guys that maybe a little bit greener and a little bit shy of saying no.
You know, definitely. It's like it goes with there's a lot of stuff that in life that is, if you don't want to do it, you probably shouldn't do it. if it feels wrong, don't. So yeah, definitely. And it's always when you bring that up, it sounds like you're trying to be a veteran, or, you know, like trying to sound like one of the old guard, you know, like those damn rookies, they bump too much, blah, 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 you know. But there is a fine line of overdoing it. And you're gonna, like, I've taken a few bad bumps along the road, which I still feel to this day, and it's like in hindsight, I didn't have to do that back senton onto the ladder, you know, but it's like had I known that, had I known then what I know now, I wouldn't have done it, you know. So
no, it's about picking the moments as well. Like it's all well and good doing that, but make sure it's when it matters, and not throwing it away. But again, with Sweden, like you've gone all over, you've accomplished everything essentially. GBG wrestling champion, Stockholm wrestling champion, 2-time and current Svensk wrestling champion. Like, how does it feel to know that you are, again, it's in the tag team name, one of the elites in Sweden, and so many companies have put you in such a position of power? Like when you faced Doug, that was for the Maximum Championship in Germany, and how does it feel that companies trust you to be that guy?
Yeah, it's a great feeling, definitely, and it's a feeling you can walk with pride, you know, like whenever anyone asks you about something like that, you can always like point to, you know, like, well, he brought me into Germany to get people into the show. He took me there, you know, to do that. So you can always point to that and say, like, my body of work is good enough for someone else, pretty much someone that just had a recommendation from someone they knew, like saying, yeah, he's all right.
Yeah.
You know, so it's I think that's one of the best feelings, really. Or like when James Mason like said I was doing all right, you know, for the All-Star thing. It's like that's the gold standard you want to reach.
Yeah.
And for having other promotions having that high, trust in you of like, he'll do a good match, we can bring him back a few times, and people will want to see it. That's the best feeling, really, because that's what you want. You're an asset to the team. You don't want to like. I don't need to be in the main event, all the time. That's not, because that's not what everyone wants. Some people want to see a fast-paced, cruiserweight match in the. So fair enough, do that. But if I can be on the card and serve the purpose of the show, hey, I'll help out. I like doing that. I enjoy doing openers as well.
Yeah.
Like, people tend to go like, oh well, it's the opener, and but it's a lot of fun doing the opener. You can you can be clever about doing that, not putting too much high risk stuff in there, but still get a good reaction out of the crowd. You can set the tone and tempo of the show. And you get a lot of time to chat about the show with people. You're done and dusted with the first match. It's like, we'll just sit back, have a few drinks, and chat with the other guys. So I don't have that. I don't feel that prestigious about things. I don't have to be the main guy. I like doing. Yeah, and especially like if someone says like, but I want to put you like, I did a show in Germany not too long before the pandemic broke out, where they put me in against a guy called Andy Tech, which was a lot of fun. He was a fun guy as well, where he's like a party guy. That was his gimmick. I think he was in the German. The Voice or something like that. He did something, so he has he does the thing that ICW guy Henry he does, the songs in this,
the songs for the entrances and stuff.
So he does that as well, Andy Tech, and he had a song doing that, and about me, and then the whole purpose of the match, like Dave, who booked the show, he was like, I want to bring you in to have this match with Andy because I think it's going to be a lot of fun. He's really over with the crowd. He's this party guy. You can be the straight guy trying to be serious about everything. And then that makes his comedic, appeal even greater. And it worked out great. He did his stuff, and we're still like both guys, big, solid guys. So it was a really fun match, and just to have someone from another country, say like, I'll bring you in, do this for me. I guess he didn't say I can think of a better person to do it, but pretty much he could pick anyone from Germany, like, I'll be the straight guy. But then he said like, well, I'll bring you in and do the straight guy gimmick for him, so we can put him over as the funny guy. And it worked like a charm. So that's a lot of fun being able to get that opportunity. Yeah.
Oh no, amazing. So for those that may not have seen much of like the Swedish wrestling scene, then try and explain the difference between Sven, Stockholm, GBG, and like Halmstad.
If we start out with Halmstad, it's very low key. It's a small town, small venue. So it's like 100 people in there, maximum capacity. It's very intimate, very close, everything. And it's like a punk rock underground show, like that. So people are very vocal and everything, and a lot of fun. I think that's the main thing about Halmstad. It's a lot of fun. It's kind of low key, everything about it. So I think that's a good way of presenting that promotion. GBG, I think, is the standout promotion in Sweden. It's the crowd is absolutely bonkers. They're great, and the venue is a rock concert venue normally. It's one of the more popular ones in Gothenburg, and it's absolutely phenomenal. The feeling I think it's the best wrestling feeling, of a show that I've been to, definitely. So it's kind of well balanced. They put on a show that is always a well balanced show. It's not too much. It's not too much of surprises and things like that. It's always a good solid show.
Yeah.
And there's always a continuity of it that's really good. So you get a good payoff, every few months. From the different storylines. Yeah. So that for me, Gothenburg is the best promotion and the best place to watch Swedish wrestling, definitely. Malmo is a close second, I think. It used to be really like underground, out there, far out, but me and a few other guys turned it more into closer to what GBG is doing.
Yeah.
But the people of the, like, as in the UK, different cities have different types of people,
Yeah.
Like I said, like, I'm a Newcastle fan. Newcastle is a more like a rugged town, with all the old mines and everything, So people are in a different mindset there than compared to London or something in the south. And the same here, Gothenburg is more of a town, the docks town. The people are a little bit more rough, I think, and the people in Malmo is more of a hipster crowd.
Yeah.
So that in that way you have to do the show a bit differently, and the fans are a bit different, but still very, very good. Always a solid turnout. The venue in Malmo also lets in kids at the night shows.
Yeah.
So there's a good mix of kids with their parents there, and people out there having a drink. Doing it as like a pre-party thing.
Yeah.
Because there's a nightclub straight after the wrestling, so they just stick around. So that's a good mix of craziness and child-friendly staged violence.
Haven't you been their champion for 3 years? Well, just over 3 years now.
Yeah, I guess so. That could be the situation. The pandemic obviously has prolonged it. So I was supposed to have a title match just before the pandemic broke out.
Yeah.
Which may or may not have gone, some ways, but that put a lot of things on hold. So that was never the intention. But it's just the way it turns out sometimes, I guess. And sometimes you put, like, if you put the strap on someone and you go like, and we want you to carry this for this and this amount of time, that's a good thing. And you put a lot of faith in someone, so you expect a lot of things from that person. And I think you have to be very careful of who you put that trust into, because especially here in Sweden, as I said, we don't have the culture, we don't have the tradition of wrestling, and that goes for the wrestlers as well, unfortunately. Obviously, if someone gets injured, you have to vacate the title or do whatever. But sometimes we just get people saying like, "No, I need to take a break from wrestling because reasons," and you have to be very certain of your champion that they're gonna carry that torch, in a good way. So it sounds like I'm shitting on everyone for not being reliable, but that's not what I'm trying to say. But you have to be careful about who you put the strap on, and I think that's one of the reasons it's been that long. It wasn't supposed to be 3 years, I guess, but that's the way it turned out.
What about Stockholm?
Yeah, well, yeah, right. Stockholm. I like Stockholm. Stockholm is a good promotion, but sometimes I think like the competition of live entertainment in Stockholm is so high that sometimes you just don't get the crowd in there. And don't get me wrong, the guys showing up are really passionate and really into it. That's not the point. But if you have a venue for about 500 people and 200 show up, it's not the same. And it's sadly sometimes that's been the case. And I think sometimes booking wise, they've done stuff a bit too haphazardly. Like, oh, we want to do this and we want to do that, so let's do it on the next show. Well, let it take a few, let it take a few months before that happens, But overall, great, like a good promotion. One of my most fun wrestling memories has been from Stockholm. Two actually, if I look back, like.
What were they?
Like very wrestling things. So one of them was they had this obviously staged wedding, and I got choke slam Ken Mountain onto a wedding cake, which is like when you do it, it's like, I wanted to do this for a long time. You're seeing it on TV, people like you choke slamming through a table and a cake. You're just like, fuck yeah. And the other one. It's quite a funny story because like the day before the show, there was like a convention, an 80s convention, and some guy just told the promoter that Ken Malmsteen, he has that Samantha Fox song as his entrance. Samantha Fox is doing this convention. You could probably talk her into coming to the show. So they phoned up the convention and they gave them the number to her agent, and the agent was like, "Yeah, well, we could probably make it," and obviously they had to pay her something, but I don't know, I don't know how much, but she showed up. And she did like this entrance with him, and then he was rude to her, so she kicked him in the nuts, and then she just came over to my side of the ring and hugged me, and was on my team. So I was like, fuck yeah, I get to hug Samantha Fox. This is great. It's a very random, very like wrestling thing, I think. Like whenever like you didn't expect getting into wrestling and going like, I'm gonna meet Samantha Fox. I didn't expect meeting Samantha Fox ever, but then getting into wrestling, that was the time I was gonna meet Samantha Fox, I guess.
No, that's amazing. From like some stuff that I've like seen or heard about, like with Stockholm as well, is hopefully there's going to be some changes and there's some exciting stuff coming up in the future. Obviously the pandemic's just halting everything and it's just frustrating. But obviously we've still got to remain to be safe, and I think we're going in the right direction. The UK's slowly easing up. Because other than WWE affiliated companies or Rev Pro that's affiliated with New Japan, no companies are running because it'd have to be no fans, and there's no you can't make money from that really. So what are some of your favorite moments then, like when you talk about like some of your standout matches, or if you was to recommend it to somebody, what matches stand out to you as the top matches, both single tag?
Yeah, I think singles match. I'd say me and Steinbolt had a match in Gothenburg. I don't know if it's out there. To be fair, but we had a title match that was. I think it was absolutely. It was. It's so uncommon for Swedish people to talk up themselves, you know. But I have to say that was a really good match, like a solid match, and I think we did a few stuff that people didn't really expect from us, which was really nice, and the payoff of Steinbolt winning as well on his home turf was it was good. It was really good. I had which was a really long while ago now, but I had a really good match with King Kong Karula of Finland, which I know is on YouTube if you check out Swedish Wrestling Syd, and you go back a few years, which is still is a really good match. Tag team wise, is me and Steinbolt against Tank and Finn. Was the last one was really good because we had, I wouldn't say we had issues. I don't think anyone noticed it, but we as professionals in the ring, you know, we noticed a few stuff that was not a few kinks, and we worked it out in the second match, I think. So that was a really good and really fun. And I was thinking about, I think I want to remember the match against Chuck Mambo and his partner that I forgot. Believers. I want to think of that as that was pretty good. We had a lot of fun, at least. That's what I remember. Bill is a hoot. He's a fun guy. Yeah. And Chuck as well, by the way. So that. So yeah. I think me and Steinbolt has had a lot of really solid matches. Yeah. I can't think of, like I said, the one with a rookie and Danny Sharp wasn't very good. It was terrible. But I think that's the only one, I guess. We have. I think our body of work is pretty solid, really, to be fair. So
great. So I always ask this question then. Like, again, I know the politics that's in Scandinavian wrestling and whatever, but it turned out like a Scandinavian, so like a Nordic wrestling super show, essentially. Like if it was on like Fire or a different streaming service, to be like, look, here are the best wrestlers from Norway, from Sweden, from Denmark, from Finland. What match would you want to be involved in? Would it be singles or tag, and who would your opponent be?
You know, like I've had I do enjoy doing tag matches more than singles matches. I don't mind singles matches, but it's more fun. There's a different dynamic, and there's a dynamic in the match as well, where you can talk with your partner a lot more. You know, like there's the freedom of that is so much greater, and I think that makes me want to do a tag match. If I want to, if it's a super show with you know, it's if I want to pick, if I'm gonna pick another team to face, that's already a team that's established. It will probably be Neues Söner, Espen Olsen, Terje, because they're great guys. They work so well together. Terje is so much more talented than he's given credit for. Me and him had a weekend, did a few shows in Germany at the same time, and he faced Michael Knight for the UEWA Cruiserweight Championship. Yeah, and they had some absolutely killer matches, absolutely great matches. If you're into Cruiserweight matches and you want to like see a hidden gem, Talia Fjord against Michael Knight for Maximum Wrestling was really good.
Oh, brilliant!
So that's one team I'm thinking of. The other team could probably be from Finland. Could be Valentine and Heimo Ukonselke. They used to team a while back, but me and Valentine's always had a good chemistry, and Heimo as well. And Heimo he's one of the funniest guys in Nordic wrestling. I think there's always a big smile on my face when I see that guy. I love it.
What match would you want to see as a fan then? Like, that's not involving you.
Oh, for a super show, I think I'd want to see like maybe like a 3-way or 4-way with a few guys. I think.
Yeah.
I think Timmy Force is one of the guys. I think because he's good. He's a talent, definitely. Yep. One guy that I think is a bit underrated as well in Sweden is Johansson. And he and Timmy has had some really good matches before. Yeah. So those two guys, and if I want to put someone else in there just to make spice things up, I'd probably put Steinbolt in there. Those three guys would have a really good match, and I think they'd have a good chemistry as well. And I grew up watching mostly WCW more than WWE. So I've always leaned into the multi-man matches more because of that, I think, and the whole outlandishness of WCW and TNA has always been more close to heart for me. So I think something like that, like a 3-way with Steinbolt, Jo, and Timmy would be really fun to watch.
Oh, great. What goals do you have left in wrestling then? Is NXT UK something you'd want to do?
It's crossed my mind a few times. Like if that opportunity would come, what would you say? I would be stupid not to do it, you know, because you're not getting any younger.
You and Walter.
What?
You versus Walter.
Yeah, that would be cool. That would be really cool. That would be a horse match, definitely. And Walter is, well, everyone knows that he's such a talent as well. He's so talented, and he's a veteran as well. By this point, he's really good. So yeah, I would definitely try to get that opportunity if it presents itself. But I think realistically, if I could do a match for WWE, like in a tournament thing, I think that's more realistic. I think, but who knows? People didn't expect NXT UK to come out when it did anyways. So we don't really know. And now, to be fair, NXT UK is a lot more than just UK guys.
Oh, 100%.
So why not NXT Europe or NXT Germany? And maybe in a few years, NXT Scandinavia. Who knows? I think that's what makes this time in wrestling so interesting. Is the fact that you don't, it's become more local. It's more unpredictable in that manner because you don't know who will turn up where. And it's not as close. The WWE is not as close as it used to be. And it's just, I think it's great to see some of the guys that I've met along the ways and that I met in my that I did a tryout for WWE 5 years ago. So like a few of those guys are in NXT UK now, which I'm sure wouldn't have happened, if they hadn't been around.
Yeah.
From that time, so it's really nice to see that.
How was that tryout?
I think it was good. It was fun, great experience for me. I learned a lot about what standards to set for myself and for others, and it was a bit tougher than I thought, especially socializing, I think.
Yeah.
Because like I'm not an unsocial guy, or like I like being around people.
Yeah.
But when you shuck like 15 people in a group, and then a lot of those people already knew each other. Like Nikki Cross was there, Damo, Aleister Black, Tony Storm was there, and like Zach Gibson. A lot of people already knew each other. They hung around, and then obviously they invited people along as well. But you don't want to impose yourself too much. and I got to share the room, share a hotel room with a Spanish guy who didn't speak English at all, and he was I think he was like second in the Arnold Classic or something like that. So he was like a bodybuilder guy, and so he'd go up at night to eat because he had to have calories like all the time. So that was strange that way, because I think that was hard, and that also was a lesson for me, like how to interact, with people without being, like without being a mark or being dull. You have to be.
It's like being a new kid at school again.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, and you still want people to remember you as well.
Yeah.
You don't want to be that guy who just sits in the background,
Yeah.
So it's also a fine line of being social and being the new guy and being funny, but without stepping on too many toes, I guess. So yeah.
No, hopefully more opportunities, and I've just seen that WWE are going back on like Finnish television, and so it seems like it's spreading back over that way. So hopefully, something can happen in the future, and hopefully you get over here in the UK again, whether it's with All Star or on the Independents.
Definitely UK. I'd love to come over more. I like in general. I like the UK. I'll try to go somewhere in the UK every year or so.
Yeah.
And I'll try to go to Newcastle like once a season. Definitely. So not only for that, and also like I'd like to get to meet Dino and Spitty again, and things like that, and wrestle, definitely. But wrestling is weird in that way, because you can go like go to a show, you can drive for a few hours, do 20 minutes in the ring, and then you're done pretty much, which is so weird. So the wrestling is a pretty small part of your day or your job. The job about wrestling is so much more the other stuff, really. Which, like, thinking now, like, because I was thinking before doing this chat about like wrestling and getting into the mood of wrestling again and all that stuff, and it just hits you like the most things, like the things you miss the most is sitting down, having a chat and talking about all the things surrounding wrestling with your wrestling buddies, essentially, and doing that match obviously is also very big and very important, and always brings out a spark in you. But I haven't seen Steinbolt in since October, or since October, since I got married, actually.
Congrats! Mine's been cancelled twice due to the pandemic. We were supposed to be married last August, then last February, and now it's back to August. So I'm glad you got yours done.
Yeah, I just got mine done just before they did the whole 8 people. Like 2 weeks later, they said like you're just allowed 8 people in, So we had our close family in the church, and then a nice reception.
I'm glad.
Yeah. So and it was great, and like I said, and I spoke to Steinbolt just a few weeks ago, and I said like we should definitely put up the ring and do a training session. Yeah. And I'll come up to Gothenburg and I'll stay the night, and we'll have a few drinks and chat, because it's been too long. So I'll miss him and miss all the other lads, definitely.
Yeah, but no, Harley, thank you for coming on. Like, it's been great, and hopefully once things are happening and more stuff's happening in the wrestling world, we can get you back on and talk even more stuff. Where can people find you on social media?
Yeah, they'll find me on Harley_Rage at Instagram, and I'm trying to be more active with all the, it's not too much training, not too much wrestling. I'll try to put some other stuff up there, but I'm busy with redoing the house. So as you can see, I have a pretty decent collection of movies, so I'll put some cheesy 80s movies up that I watched and give it a fair review once in a while. And you can also find me on Facebook, Harley Rage, the Human Battle Tank. And then after this, like maybe in a few days, you'll find me on Twitter as well. I'll get back to you on that. Yeah. But I'll definitely set something up for sure. So that's pretty much it. And be sure to check out both GBG Wrestling and Svensk Wrestling Syd in particular on both those platforms, and see what happens in Swedish wrestling, and Bodyslam as well. They're great guys doing great shows.
No, thank you very much. But yeah, thanks for coming on the show, Harley. It's been great talking. Everybody do make sure you go follow him on social media and look out for that impending Twitter account to be created.
Exactly.
That is the goal. Get everybody on Nordic Wrestling on Twitter. But no, thanks again for coming on the show. Everybody make sure you follow Harley. Make sure you hit like, hit subscribe. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.